This is a pre-printed Sashiko piece of fabric, and I'm going to show you how to start, and I'm going to do this whole dragonfly for you to see my technique. So I'm going to start this without a knot. So I'll start here, which is the beginning of my fourth stitch. So I'm going to bring my needle up from the back at the beginning of the fourth stitch. I'm going to leave a little tail about that long, just about a bit over a centimetre or two, and I'm going to stitch back to the beginning, and I'm going to use the tip of my needle to gauge my stitch length, and I'm going to fold my fabric onto my needle. Okay, so then I'm going to pull my thread through the fabric by holding my thumb on the entry point where the thread goes into the fabric. And I'm going to stretch my fabric just slightly, just so that the thread stays on top of the fabric and not in the grain of the fabric. I'm then going to turn it over. I'll just lengthen that a little bit. Bring the tail back, and I'm going to encompass that tail by going through the stitches on the back. Now that will stay in there and it won't come out. So then I come up at the beginning of what would be my next stitch from behind. I'm going to do the whole tail of this little dragonfly just to show you how simple it is and how easy it is to get a stitch length. Now you've got your stitch length actually marked here, which makes it easy, but when you get to draw your own designs onto fabrics, this is a great way of ensuring that you've got the right stitch length. See how nice they are, nice and even. Pull it through, put my thumb on the entry point so that it doesn't tangle the thread, and then very gently I'm going to stretch it. Don't pull it too hard. If you pull it too hard, you'll find that the thread will separate, and it's very difficult to get that back into a single thread again. Because I'm going around the corner, I'm just doing a single stitch. And when I'm going around the corner, I usually leave a little bit of a loop on the back there, so that it stays nice and flat. You'll find that if you actually fold your fabric onto your needle, you'll get a more even stitch because the needle doesn't move. You can see I'm putting quite a few stitches on at one time. And of course, if you use a larger needle, you'll find that you can put more stitches on, of course. I use quite a short needle because that's what I like. We're going to stretch it. Always stretch it. Every time that you pull the thread through the fabric, make sure that you stretch your piece of fabric. Because you've got a good light, you can see the needle once you've made the stitch. And then what I would do is I'd just go over to the next part of my design. And you can do this because you've got plenty of thread left. Okay, it's all nice and flat there. And I might go on and do his wing. When you've got a design for a Sashiko piece that you want to stitch, always work out a pathway that you can get as many stitches done without finishing off. Okay, so we'll just do this little wing and then show you how to finish off your piece. You'll see that I'm not using a backing on my fabric. I don't like to use a stiffener on the back of my pieces when I'm stitching. I find that if I do that, the glue hinders me putting the needle through the fabric, and there's a chance that if I've got a stiffener on there, the thread might pull it through when I'm stitching, and I don't like that. I always use a very good quality fabric when I'm stitching. Okay. Go around this little corner. And we'll just finish up at the end of this little wing. When you are buying pre-printed fabric, always ask if the design will wash out. It's very important if you want to manipulate your designs, and that's a lesson that we'll be putting onto the website or onto a blog in the coming months. Okay, so we've got our tail and our little wing done, so I'm going to finish off just to show you what I do for a finish off. So then we turn it over and we just go back through, weave it back through those last 3 or 4 stitches. You'll find that it's nice and flat, there are no knots, and it's very secure. Cut it off and then you've got your beautiful piece of Sashiko.